We all seen pigeons. In Egypt, it's a delicacy, but in America, it's something else. Sure, they could be annoying, but they are far, far worse. They might poop on you, but are you sure it's a poop and not a mass control liquid? Your answer is probably, yes, it's probably poop. And you would be right. The poop is real, but the pigeons aren't. Why is that? Are they drones? No, they are not. They are something far more sinister. 1. The short history of biological warfare. The idea of using disease as a weapon is far older than modern science. Ancient records describe armies contaminating enemy wells with dead animals or human corpses, hoping to spread illness and panic. In 1346, during the siege of the Black Sea port of Kaffa, Mongol forces reportedly catapulted plague-infected bodies over the city walls, an event some historians link to the later spread of the Black Death into Europe. As knowledge of microbes grew, so did attempts to harness them deliberately. In the 18th century, British forces in North America allegedly distributed blankets from smallpox patients to indigenous communities, one of the earliest documented cases of biological warfare in the Americas. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the germ theory of disease gave nations a clearer understanding of pathogens, and with it came organized programs to explore their military potential. During World War I, Germany was accused of trying to spread diseases such as anthrax to livestock bound for Allied countries. The horrors of the Great War prompted the 1925 Geneva Protocol, which banned the use of biological and chemical weapons, but the treaty lacked strict enforcement. In the decades that followed, secret programs continued. Japan's notorious Unit 731 conducted brutal experiments in the 1930s and 1940s, testing plague, cholera, and other agents on prisoners and releasing infected fleas in Chinese cities. The Cold War escalated the race further. Both the United States and the Soviet Union built extensive bioweapons research programs, stockpiling agents like anthrax and tularemia despite international agreements. Accidents occasionally exposed the danger. In 1979, an anthrax leak from a Soviet facility in Sverdlovsk killed dozens, revealing the risks of hidden programs. Global outrage grew, and in 1972 most nations signed the Biological Weapons Convention, which prohibits development, production, and stockpiling of such weapons. While the treaty represents a major step toward preventing biological warfare, concerns remain about clandestine research and the dual-use nature of biotechnology. Today, the history of biological weapons serves as a cautionary tale. It reminds us how the same scientific discoveries that save lives can be twisted into tools of destruction, and why vigilance, transparency, and international cooperation are crucial to keep biology a force for good rather than a weapon of war. 2. Biological weapons against population. The idea of targeting entire populations with disease is as old as warfare itself. Long before scientists understood microbes, armies and rulers exploited sickness to weaken enemies. In ancient times, besieging forces sometimes dumped animal carcasses or human corpses into wells and rivers, knowing that foul water could spark deadly outbreaks. One of the earliest and most infamous examples came in 1346 at the Black Sea port of Kaffa. Historical accounts describe Mongol forces hurling plague-infected bodies over the city walls, an act that may have helped the Black Death spread across Europe. Centuries later, during the 18th century, British officers in North America are reported to have distributed blankets from smallpox patients to indigenous communities, an early attempt to use disease to decimate civilian groups. As scientific understanding of germs advanced in the 19th and 20th centuries, so did the scale of such programs. During World War I, German operatives allegedly tried to infect livestock bound for Allied nations, indirectly threatening the food supply and public health. The interwar years brought the 1925 Geneva Protocol banning biological and chemical weapons, but enforcement was weak. The most notorious state-sponsored atrocities occurred during the 1930s and 1940s. Japan's Unit 731 carried out lethal experiments on prisoners and released plague-infected fleas over Chinese cities, causing outbreaks among civilians. At the same time, other countries investigated their own programs, quietly exploring pathogens like anthrax and botulinum toxin. The Cold War saw an escalation in research despite international agreements. Both the United States and the Soviet Union secretly developed and stockpiled biological agents capable of harming large populations. Accidents underscored the danger. In 1979, an anthrax leak from a Soviet facility near Sverdlovsk killed dozens of civilians and revealed how easily containment can fail. International outrage led to the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, which outlawed the development and stockpiling of bioweapons. While it remains a cornerstone of global arms control, concerns persist about covert programs and the dual-use nature of modern biotechnology, where legitimate medical research can be repurposed for harm. From poisoned wells in antiquity to covert Cold War laboratories, the history of biological weapons aimed at populations is a sobering reminder that scientific knowledge can be twisted into instruments of mass suffering. It underscores the need for transparency, vigilance, and international cooperation to ensure biology serves life rather than destruction. 3. The history of pigeons. Before pigeons became the mysterious urban legends we see today, their real-world history with humans was already remarkable. These birds, known scientifically as rock doves, were first domesticated more than 5,000 years ago in the Middle East. Ancient Egyptians raised them for food and revered them as symbols of love and peace, while in Mesopotamia and Greece they were sacred to goddesses like Ishtar and Aphrodite. Their fame truly took off because of an extraordinary natural talent, the ability to find their way home across vast distances. Long before telephones or the internet, people used pigeons as the ultimate messengers. The Persians and later the Romans built organized pigeon post networks to carry important announcements, and in medieval Europe merchants relied on them to send market prices and business updates faster than any rider on horseback. Pigeons even became wartime heroes. During both World War I and World War II, when radio lines failed or enemy forces jammed signals, pigeons carried critical messages through smoke, gunfire, and storms. One famous bird named Cher Amy delivered a note that saved nearly 200 soldiers, despite being shot and injured on the journey. As the industrial age transformed cities, escaped domestic pigeons found an ideal home among our buildings, which resembled the rocky cliffs where their ancestors nested. They thrived in urban environments, shifting from honored allies to everyday companions and, in some people's eyes, to rats with wings. 4. Pigeons, as genetically modified animal cyborgs. For centuries, pigeons were simply part of the city's background, a flutter of wings on rooftops, a familiar coo in the morning air. But in the mid-21st century, whispers began to surface about a hidden project known only by its codename, AetherWing. According to leaked research memos, scientists within a shadowy government consortium had been experimenting with pigeons for decades, blending genetics, microrobotics, and neural engineering to create the first true animal-cyborg hybrids. The choice of species was deliberate. Pigeons already possessed extraordinary homing instincts and a natural ability to navigate magnetic fields. Engineers embedded biocompatible microchips at the base of their skulls, fusing synthetic circuits with the birds' nervous systems. Gene edits enhanced muscle efficiency and extended lifespan, while carbon fiber feather shafts allowed for silent, high-altitude gliding. Early prototypes were intended as living surveillance drones. Their eyes, now augmented with microscopic cameras, could stream real-time footage to remote command centers. Tiny resonators in their throats transmitted encrypted data packets that blended seamlessly with urban wireless traffic. Entire flocks could be guided through subtle pulses of electromagnetic signals, their movements choreographed like airborne code. But as the program expanded, the line between animal and machine blurred. Successive generations were bred not only for obedience but for collective intelligence. Neural interfaces enabled a shared swarm mind, allowing thousands of pigeons to act as a single organism. Cities unknowingly became testbeds, their skies filled with what appeared to be ordinary birds but were in fact a distributed network of organic supercomputers. By the time the public began to suspect, the cyborg pigeons were indispensable to infrastructure, relaying data, mapping traffic flows, even stabilizing communications during blackouts. Official statements dismissed the rumors as conspiracy theories, yet every coup from a windowsill seemed to carry a hidden algorithm. 5. How they control the population. In the shadow of modern cities, the pigeon cyborg network evolved from silent surveillance into a subtle system of influence. Each bird carried a lattice of neural implants and microsensors that fed constant streams of data into a hidden cloud of quantum servers. At first, the program seemed passive, mapping movement patterns, cataloging faces, and monitoring public sentiment. But the next phase shifted from observation to quiet control. Through their swarm mind, the pigeons functioned like a living, self-repairing sensor grid. By tracking crowd density and heart rate signatures, they could anticipate protests or unrest before a single slogan was shouted. Their onboard emitters projected barely perceptible ultrasonic tones and electromagnetic pulses, designed not to harm but to nudge, altering mood, heightening anxiety, or calming a gathering depending on the command. The birds' flight formations became a kind of living billboard. Arranged across city skylines, they spelled out coded patterns invisible to the casual eye yet instantly readable by augmented reality systems and drone networks. In moments of crisis, flocks could shepherd crowds by diving in precise arcs, steering people down designated streets or away from restricted zones, all while appearing to be random urban wildlife. Economically, the pigeons doubled as an omnipresent data mining machine. Every fluttering wing was a mobile antenna, capturing conversations, scanning wireless signals, and feeding algorithms that predicted not just consumer behavior but political leanings. Targeted misinformation campaigns unfolded in real time, guided by the insights harvested from a million unnoticed sensors with feathers. Over time, the line between natural instinct and programmed intent vanished. The birds no longer needed constant commands, the distributed intelligence embedded in their flocking behavior could adapt on its own. To the ordinary citizen, it was still just a city full of pigeons. To the architects of the system, it was a perfectly camouflaged network capable of shaping public mood, controlling movement, and quietly steering the fate of an entire population without a single visible chain of command. Pigeons are a biological weapon, but not in a way you think. They are soldiers, against you. If you liked this video, please give us a like, leave a comment behind and don't forget to subscribe, because we will try to find the truth behind the lies. See you next time, bye bye.